Ethiopia was not a landlocked country, but now it is. And we will discuss this issue with my guest here in the studio, Dr. Geremew Huluqa. Dr. Geremew Huluqa is the president for Oromia State University. And this is our special edition. Stay tuned. Thank you, Dr. Geremew, for just coming to our studio.
Thank you to have me.
And let me directly move to my question, and let us start with this. And Ethiopia, have an access to the seaport, but unfortunately it lost. How and why Ethiopia lost its access to the Red Sea, and what were the conspiracies behind this?
Yeah, thank you again. You see, this issue is very important, and we have to understand with the political history of Ethiopia in relation with relationship between Eritrea and Ethiopia.
Sure.
And of course, in my opinion, the past rulers particularly did a mistake in 3 points. You see, during Adwa victory, Emperor Menelik did not cross the river, so he left Eritrea under Italy. So beginning from 1890 to 1941, Eritrea was under Italy. And then, of course, during Haile Selassie also, for some years, she was under Britain rule. Then Eritrea united with Ethiopia, so the process arranged by UN with federation. So the first mistake was with King Menelik. The second mistake is the abolishment of this federation by Haile Selassie. With his team, he miscalculated that federation is not a good lesson for other Ethiopian groups who were maybe asking for questing for their right. So the abolishment of the federation paved the way for the other countries like Egypt to support the surgeries and the different organizations. Then the third mistake came when Eritrea did her referendum. The EPRDF leaders, particularly during this transition period, they were hurried to even facilitate the referendum without negotiating even some important national interest points like this, what we call access to sea, particularly ASAB. They can negotiate, in my opinion, and even there are different articles that are written by different professionals that even different ambassadors, different diplomats of other countries even advised Ethiopian leaders during that time not to rush to give permission or to facilitate this referendum even without having proper boundary demarcation. So that is another mistake. So particularly the third one is during EPRDF is considered as conspiracy. Conspiracy because TPLF and EPLF were already together, and Eritrea did her best without considering Ethiopia's national interest. That's personally I regret that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what was the role of Egypt, especially in separating Eritrea from Ethiopia?
During the abolishment of the Eritrean Ethiopian Federation, that was a very important opportunity for Egypt. As everybody knows, Egypt has its own role in weakening and disturbing Ethiopia due to this what we call river, Abai River. So automatically Egypt gave a base for the armies and different organizations and help it in the resistance movements in different ways, in diplomatic ways, in materials, particularly in mobilizing other Arab countries in order to destabilize Ethiopia and to succeed Eritrea. So it's most of the time it's considered as invisible hand, but it was visible, and history is remembering this one. So the role of Egypt was very large.
And even it seems now again it will push its role, it is conspiracy, maybe by helping Eritrea, because it does not have any direct contact with Ethiopia.
That was and still that is. Yeah, you are
Great.
right.
And then the other one is now Ethiopian government, whatever the history was, now Ethiopian government is motivated and even mobilizing its own citizen, and is going to do something remarkable job, as we have already done on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. And what do you think the Ethiopian motivation, Ethiopian government, Ethiopian state even, not only the government?
Yeah, you see, when you have a government like the current government, who is focused on Ethiopian national interest, as well as led by homegrown policy, and has courageous and ambition for the country's development as well as prosperity, it's a must to think about this access to sea. So what motivated is the national interest of the country. The fact that the leaders, particularly our Prime Minister, is doing his best to alleviate poverty from in Ethiopia, as well as to put the country into prosperous country. Therefore, and of course, I think most Ethiopians regret about the way we lost this access to sea. One of them, of course, one of most who regretted most, I think, is our Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. So that's what motivated the current leaders.
Exactly. And how should the citizen of Ethiopia support, whether the elites, the intellectuals, the politicians, even the ordinary citizen, should support and buy this agenda?
Actually, this is a national interest. It should not divide us. We can divide ourselves in maybe political perspective, political affiliation. But this one works for every Ethiopian. It's a national interest. It's a very important issue for Ethiopians. It's a dignity question and economic question, as well as security issue. So every Ethiopian should, unless otherwise he or she must be crazy, should buy this idea. Maybe difference may appear in the strategy, in how to secure this one. Different people may have different opinion. The fact that Ethiopia has to have access to sea should unite Ethiopians, like what we did in GERD. Yeah.
And why Eritrea opposes this initiative again?
You see, to be frank, Eritrea should not have been acted like she has been acting, as well as currently acting. Because particularly in 1993 during referendum, even though the Ethiopian society did not have a chance to vote and give even his voices, the then existing government gave them permission. The assumption behind, in addition to that transparency, was the expectation was Eritrea will become a very good friend of Ethiopia, and the then 30 years civil war will end. But what we observed in the course of 30 years, Eritrea was conspiring against Ethiopia, Ethiopian national interest, rather than becoming a good friend, a good neighbor who share resources to each other and who can prosper together. They become opposite of that, particularly the leaders. I am not referring to the people. So I think one, it could be fear that if Ethiopia becomes very developed country, she engulfs me. Second, maybe their historical relationship with Egypt, so they are working for Egypt. And the third, less probably, to my opinion, is jealousy. Wow. Otherwise, they don't have any reason to oppose this one. Yeah.
By the way, is it Egypt is closest to Eritrea, or Ethiopia is closest to Eritrea? Why they want to choose Egypt over Ethiopian interest?
Yeah, you see, I spoke that the Egypt was, in quotation, the godfather of Ethiopia.
Oh, the other question is, Ethiopia already recognized Eritrean independence, and if Eritrea continues opposing Ethiopia's initiative of access to the sea, will Ethiopia revoke its recognition to Eritrea? What do you think about this?
Of course, on this point, yeah, there are different opinions, but from my point of view, it needs very careful. It needs very careful observation and analysis, because once we miss the opportunity already, the then existing government of Ethiopian government already given permission, but this permission is not guaranteed actually.
Sure.
Ethiopia can revoke, but the revocation of this permission does not necessarily mean that Eritrea loses her statehood status. Already the international community, the UN, she became the member of UN, but it has its own negative impact on legitimacy of Eritrea. So Ethiopia can revoke, but some people think that automatically if Ethiopia revoke the status, it would reverse the decision. It's not like this. International law is there, but it has its own negative effect on the recognition, legitimacy, acceptance of Eritrea. Again, the second point that I want to make clear, it's not from my point of view, it's not due to the agenda of access to sea that Ethiopia would revoke, but what Eritrea is and has been doing for the last 30 years to Ethiopia. Eritrea is affecting Ethiopia in different ways.
True.
By destabilizing Ethiopia, by not peacefully working with Ethiopia. So the presence of Eritrea as a state is harming Ethiopia. So the international community should understand this one.
Sure.
So the purpose of permitting statehood is to make peaceful neighborhood, but that did not work. So if Eritrea continues to destabilize Ethiopia and harm the national interest of Ethiopia, Ethiopia should revoke.
Sure.
Then even other measures may continue, by the way. So if a country is making you very disturbed and affecting your economic development, political security, so you government should take any measure that deter this action. So, but for the moment, I suggest opinion that we have to work on the peaceful and diplomatic way of securing this access to sea. Diplomatic work is very important, and we are actually doing, the government is doing its best, because everybody now is knows that Ethiopia needs access to sea, but through peaceful. Every diplomat, every country is supporting the fact that Ethiopia, this agenda is very important for Ethiopia.
You mean like we did on GERD?
Yes, yeah.
And the other one is what Ethiopia has been doing now is a kind of fighting with poverty, and just overcoming poverty and ensuring economic independence and electricity independence and so on. And now, what positive impact will access to sea will have on our economy, sustainable development of the country?
It's very huge. Like if we take even quantitatively by statistics, different studies indicate that having access to sea and port increase countries' economic development from 25 to 30%. So imagine the current GDP of Ethiopia. Then, if you add 25 or 30% of the current GDP, what does it mean? Ethiopian economic development is boosting, and not only that, it facilitates it, and it is trade, both import and export, and also foreign direct investment. Foreign investors will come to Ethiopia because the cost of transportation, the cost of mobility for goods decrease because the port belongs to Ethiopia, so Ethiopia is not paying, and so it's a lot. It's a lot.
And how other African nations, regardless of Eritrea, how other African nations, as we do have one umbrella, which is African Union, and there are also different agendas like Agenda 2063, Agenda 2030, just prosperity of Ethiopia will be prosperity of the continent. And how should other African nations support Ethiopia, not favoring Ethiopia, positively, fairly supporting Ethiopia, or negotiating with the two nations?
Look, no one can be against reality, natural reality.
Sure.
Ethiopia is a very big country. We are second in terms of population.
Sure, next to Nigeria.
Yes, and our population structure is 70% of the population structure is young. Ethiopia has no choice except to develop herself, prosper. Otherwise, the effect, what would happen when this young generation do not have good economic development? So the effect will not stop only in Ethiopia. The effect goes to other African countries as well as Europe. Huge number of people will migrate, and even maybe indulge itself into conflict. So this access to sea is a resource, you see. When you are alienated from access to the historical your own resource, you may, as a citizen, by the way, not as a government, will put yourself into conflict. So supporting Ethiopia's quest for access to sea is accepting the reality and helping the humanity to feed itself, to develop itself. So it means it should be the agenda of African Union. It should be the Africa of UN.
Sure.
So Ethiopia is not claiming that I have to disturb others, but Ethiopia is claiming now it's a must to have access to sea because I cannot survive without this. She is claiming like this. So in my opinion, other African countries, as they are doing, by the way, now even that they are not openly speaking, silencing on this issue is acceptance.
Sure.
So most of the countries, even from Africa as well as Western, they are silently observing, and that means they are convincing themselves that the fact that Ethiopia Ethiopia's quest for access to sea is the right question. Yeah.
And Ethiopia's position in the stability of the region is
yes,
also very
that's another issue. The geopolitics of the region that affects Asia, Europe, and Africa, by the way. So that's a very important issue.
And now Ethiopia is a landlocked country already, and maybe landlocked countries do have a right to access seaports. And what will be the United Nations stake in this situation?
Yeah, Ethiopia. What makes Ethiopia's case unique from other landlocked countries on this planet is the historical relationship that Ethiopia has with Red Sea. Secondly, the demographic composition of Ethiopia, and of course the population composition. Like if you take us it divided our brothers Afar. So the historical the cultural relationship between Ethiopia and Ethiopia and Eritrea makes unique of Ethiopia.
Sure.
So even though there is a principle that landlocked countries do have a right access to port, or particularly port, but Ethiopia has unique future, as already I have mentioned. And of course, as we discussed, the way Eritrea took ASAP was not legitimate.
Sure.
In,
normal,
least,
not
yeah,
under
it's
normal,
not
circumstances.
Yes. Yeah. So the then leaders did a mistake. So I think the Ethiopian government should renegotiate this issue, and the international community should understand this one and the support for negotiation between the two countries. I think the Eritreans should understand also Ethiopia's quest, and of course, if we negotiate, look, Ethiopian government requested not for free, by the way. The Ethiopian government proposed different offers by lease, particularly the well-known Ethiopian airline. Now we do have GERD, and even you can take other, you can have other as a lease, as an exchange. So the Eritrean government should understand it's not for luxury that Ethiopia is crying. It's for survival.
Sure.
Yeah.
And let me make this a final question. Do you think the leaders who did these all mistakes, whether it is intentionally or unintentionally, do they regret if they are alive today? What do you think about this? Maybe your opinion.
I don't think they regret. They did it purposefully. They did it purposefully.
Sure.
And also their friends are not regretting. They do have living friends who were part of that decision.
Sure.
Now
you
we
are
are
alive today.
Yes, you are living today. They are not regretting. They are even clamping their hands for Eritrea. So how do I assume that if they were alive, they regret? I don't think so.
Dr. Geremew Huluqa, if you have any special message, you are welcome.
Yeah, I have said everything, but this issue is not agenda only for the Prime Minister. As a Prime Minister, he initiated this agenda. Now the agenda became agenda of all Ethiopians. All Ethiopians should consciously and carefully watch this issue and do their best, particularly the elites, the academic elites, the researchers, as well as the political elites. We may have different political opinions, but on this issue, we should not divide ourselves. Thank you very much.
Wow, great. Thank you too.
Yeah.
Dear viewers, as you have already heard, the agenda of access to seaport is not only the agenda of a Prime Minister, Dr. Geremew said. All Ethiopians should consciously and carefully observe this issue and support it. And we thank Dr. Geremew for this. And this is all about our discussion for this edition. And I'm sure you have got some very important pointers or views from this discussion. And thank you very much for watching OBN Horn of Africa. Until next edition, goodbye.